Hey, what's up guys? So I've never done a what's in my dock video, so I decided to show you guys the apps and workflow I use on a daily basis. I also recently made a desk tour video, so if you guys haven't already seen it, there will be a link down below. So let's not waste any time and let's get right to it. So I basically wanted to give you guys an overview of the workflow as well as some of the applications that I use. So basically before I get started, I also want to tell you some of the hot corners that I use for my workflow. And that's basically on the left hand side, I have to show desktop. So if I bump into show desktop, it will literally show my desktop. And if I bump into the right hand side, it will show mission control or spaces. And if I bump into the top right hand side, it will show Launchpad, basically all my applications that I have. But let's get started with spaces because this is where spaces is really important. I use it a lot, and I'm actually surprised that a lot of people don't use it because it actually increases your workflow pretty significantly. But anyways, let's let me show you how I use spaces. So basically on my first space, I have Chrome, and basically anything that's Chrome related will automatically stay in that space. And I also use Google All Access, so I'm actually paying for it, and it's pretty freaking amazing. So I'm constantly using this while editing or working on anything, basically. And on my second space, I have Mail, which is Airmail. It's an application you can find in the App Store, as well as Twitter. So basically anything that's email or Twitter happens in this page. Now let's move on to the third screen, which is iTunes. I don't particularly use iTunes anymore because I'm using Google All Access, which pretty much grants me unlimited access to any new albums and basically virtually any song. But there is some times where I can't find a particular artist, such as Metallica. Metallica is in Google All Access, so I have to revert back to iTunes, as well as I have an Apple TV. So if I want to stream content, I have to use iTunes to stream content from my computer to the Apple TV. So that's basically the only reason why I still use iTunes. And moving on to the fourth desktop, and this is basically the place where I'm constantly located. I'm always editing, working on different editing strategies, and just basically improving my editing skills as much as I can. But anyways, this is where basically all my editing work happens. And yeah, let's move on to the next desktop, and that's desktop 5. Desktop 5 is where I keep all my Motion 5 work. Although I haven't really been using Motion 5, I am learning on how to do text tracking and motion tracking. I'm definitely working on that. I haven't uploaded anything on that because I don't feel like it's to the level where I would be comfortable enough to upload content. I am a perfectionist. I try to upload the best that I can, and I'm still not satisfied with the motion projects that I've made so far. But definitely be on the lookout for some of that stuff. It should be coming out pretty soon. And on my sixth desktop, I keep my Pixelmator, which is basically how I do some of the, I guess, the thumbnails for YouTube and anything that's like Photoshop. This is basically my Photoshop replacement, I guess. I don't use Photoshop. I don't have Photoshop because I'm not a huge Photoshop person, so I don't really need that robust power. But I found the Pixelmator is more than enough and more than capable of providing that power, but I only need it for the basic stuff. There are some occasions where I do need to modify a certain picture, a family picture, and Pixelmator is more than enough. So I'm pretty happy. This application, I believe, costs $30 in the App Store, so I really recommend it. And following to the next desktop, and desktop 7 is basically where I do my homework, do writing for pages, and as well as I keep the application Aperture open. Obviously, I'm not going to open that application because I have private pictures in there, but you get the idea. Now moving on to the last and final desktop, and that's desktop 8. And in desktop 8, I keep a separate browser, and this is Firefox, and I use Firefox basically for YouTube. So basically in this browser, I keep my YouTube account always logged in. So if I'm going to be uploading a video or responding to comments or messages, this is basically where it happens. And I literally keep this setup. I've literally been using this setup for a couple years now, and I honestly, I would not be able to function correctly if I didn't have spaces. So yeah, that's pretty much how I use it. And I really recommend you guys should start using spaces if you're not already. But yes, and another application is iStats. I keep iStats because I do have a dual core Mac Mini, even though it's very powerful and I really have no need to upgrade. But it is important to keep track of your resources so you can know exactly when your system is going to start giving out. So basically keep a CPU, and I keep track of the CPU performance and the memory. But more importantly, I have this application for the memory, so I can keep track of the active, free memory, and all that stuff, and as well as the hard drive and my SSD. And it's important for you to keep track of your memory, especially if you're video editing, because Final Cut Pro will literally use all the memory you have. And my system has 16 gigs of RAM, and it will use all 16 gigs of RAM. So it's important to keep track of that. So if you start running out of memory, you can start closing applications or doing some changes to keep that memory free. And I will strongly recommend this application as well. It's iStats, and I will have links for everything that I've mentioned in here down below so you guys could check it out. iStats, there's like a free trial, so if you guys could try it out. It's not free, after the trial, but man, I really recommend it. I mean, it really does help out the workflow. So yeah. And in terms of the wallpaper, if you guys are interested in the wallpaper, I'll have a link down below for the wallpaper as well. And my desktop, I like keeping it clear of any files. I hate having files on my desktop. The only time I have files on my desktop is if I'm working on a specific project and I need to have files outside. But once I'm done, I immediately throw them away or put them somewhere else. I like keeping everything separate. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions regarding anything that you saw here, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.